All right, welcome to another episode of the Area 210 podcast. I'm your host, Joe Garcia, and today we're joined by a star studded cast right here. We're going to be talking about San Antonio Spurs basketball predictions for the upcoming season and what do we think about the Spurs in preseason. So, without further ado, we're going to go around the horn here. We have Matt Lerma, who does the X Spaces out there that you all know and love. We're also joined by Elias. He does the Down for the Count podcast, talks wrestling and everything else there with Brandon Big Papi Medina. We're also joined by our puro, Marbach connection here, John Dyer. And we're joined by the man, the myth, the legend himself, Fernandez. What's up, people?
What's going on?
What's up, guys? This is a good group. This is a good group you've assembled here. I love it.
Yeah, it's puro rasta, dude. It's gonna be the guys that are just, I like it because it's not people from the media. So right now, it's just gonna be everybody talking. This is a free space. No one's gonna be coming down on you for speaking your mind, and we're just gonna talk about Spurs basketball, the predictions, what you all thought so far preseason. There's no pop slander on this show. That's Michael Jimenez on the Alamo City Sportscast, not on this show. We love us some Coach Pop here. And we love us some Jeremy Sohan, so no Jeremy Sohan slander either. All right, so let's go ahead and go around the horn here because we only got so much time to go around with. But I want to get your guys' predictions of the Spurs right now and how they played during preseason. What did you like and what you didn't like? Since you're new to the crew here, Elias, we're gonna go with you first. So let us know your likes and dislikes in the Spurs as far as preseason.
Let's see. Well, I mean, before anything, I just want to give a quick shout out to Rick and Steph. Appreciate y'all sending me out there. By luck of the wheel, I was able to catch that preseason game against the Jazz, and I liked what I saw out there. I mean, it's still the same old shit that has me rubbed the wrong way. Being Collins, I feel I feel like we still need to get another big to help out Wemby because he's not gonna be able to do it on his own, dude. Our guards pretty much showed up, and I like how we worked a lot on our assist game, so that's going to benefit us when the season comes around. So hopefully, everything ties in and, we'll be at least in the play-in tournament when the season starts. So that's all I got to say.
All right. And what about you, Matt Lerma? What did you think about the Spurs in their preseason?
I was a little disappointed. I was hoping to see more Wemby. I was kind of sad when he didn't play the last game, but from what I saw player-wise, I have to agree with Elias. I was mostly disappointed with Zach's performance when he came back, but I'm hoping that he's just rusty or whatever. But if he doesn't shape up pretty soon, I'm going to be real disappointed.
Yeah. What about you, John Dyer? We're going to go ahead and save Rick for last because I know he always has a lot to say. So, John, what did you think about the Spurs in their preseason play?
The one thing that stood out to me was Keldon Johnson. The way he kind of reshaped his body. He looks slim. I don't know who tweeted it, but someone said he looked like Russell Westbrook attacking the rim. And I agreed, he did. And I really hope that he's found his role. I think we've asked a lot of him throughout the last, for past couple of years. He was given a gold, spot on a dream team, and is he going to be the guy? And then you're going to be the sixth man, and you got to work with Wemby. I hope that he's found what he is to this roster, and I think a lot of guys have to do that, not just Keldon. But I thought Keldon looked good in preseason. I'm excited to see how he fits coming off the bench.
Yeah. So what about you, Rick? I know you're going to have a lot to say about the Spurs in preseason play because you're like the number one fan here, the guy you're the pulse of the city. You're the true pulse of the city.
Man, I'm telling you, man, you gotta be a sicko to like live tweet preseason games. You know what I mean? Like I don't know who does that, But no, man, like what everybody said is on point. And again, I don't want to belabor the same points, so I'll go somewhere else with Julian Champagny, man. I mean, he's hitting. Like I said, I agree with whatever everybody said because Keldon's body is different, man, and I think that's going to be huge. But Julian Champagny hitting, Pop, likes to put him in the starting role, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's in the starting role minus with Vassell out. And I got it. We all want Castle, but I don't even. And people getting so wrapped up about I think Castle not starting. He's still going to get the minutes. I think. Like, he's still going to get the minutes. He's probably going to be the closer. So we're kind of we're doing semantics about like, oh well, they're prioritizing somebody else over Castle just because he's not on the starting lineup. I don't buy that. I think he'll still get the minutes. He'll still be a closer. He'll eventually be a starter, but I think it's just, Champagne's kind of fitting with the team. He's hitting right now. You know, the last guy on the roster, Minix, he's doing well in preseason. I think he's got that last spot locked on. Yeah, I wish we saw more Wemby. I mean, at the end of the day, I get it's preseason, but seeing him a little bit more would be helpful. But I think we kind of knew what we had going, but a good surprise is Keldon and his body.
Yeah, one of the things that I've seen here in preseason play is I think we can all agree Stephon Castle is the truth, man. This kid is legit. He looks game
For
ready,
sure.
for sure. And Spurs fans just want to see him start, but I don't know if that's going to be in the cards for him. I think Coach Pop is going to go with his tried and true veterans. CP3 is going to get the start, followed by Trey, and of course we're going to go ahead and see Stephon Castle. Spurs fans want him to start, but I think Coach Pop easing him in is the right thing because you all well know that if you put a rookie in and they're just not having that same success that they had in, let's say, summer league or even like preseason play, and they just get thrown into the fire, that can mess with their head, and that's not what you want. You want him to go ahead and stay positive about himself and about the progress that he has going for him right now. You want to keep that momentum going forward. So I do like where he's at right now. He's saying the game's slowing down for him. I believe that. And the other thing that I've seen out of the Spurs as a team right now in preseason play is the ability that they have now to pass the ball a lot better. Their passing looks good. Floor spacing looks good out there. The pace is one of the things that I love and I hate about them. They were third in pace last year in the NBA. And what I see them doing a lot of times is still kind of getting out of control. I know that they play at a fast pace. I do want to see them slow down just a little bit. That way they make better decisions with the ball. Because as we've seen, they still turn the ball over a lot. And I think that's because of the poor decision making that they do when they're playing at that high clip, because they get caught in no man's land trying to look around, trying to see if they can find an open man. But by then they already got 3 defenders on him, and it's a turnover going the other way. Easy 2 points. Want to see them clean that up a little bit. But so far, the trajectory that I have seen them on shows to me that this team is going to be more competitive and be a lot better than they were in the prior year, especially with Barnes and CP3. Now we're going to talk to Harrison Barnes right now because we haven't seen a whole lot from him. But we're going to go with you again, Rick, because we started last with you, so we're going to go first on this one. I know that Spurs fans have mixed emotions about CP3 and Harrison Barnes because they're old, right? They're older. They're veterans. They bring a lot of experience, I think, and it's already showing here with this young core. But Spurs fans, they have been booing Harrison Barnes in the arena. What do you think about that? That's unlike us, man.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I mean, Harrison Barnes has been kind of disappointing. I think, people expected a lot more out of him. People don't have a connection with him yet, so it's easy to just like boo him right now. But if you watch the games, I mean, he is out there hustling. Like, and I'm not trying to make an excuse for him. I'm not trying to be a homer. I'm telling you, he's pretty disappointing. But there are some hustle plays that he's out there doing. He's doing things like, rushing after the balls and throwing them back in, from out of bounds and stuff like that, which at his age, like, you're like, damn, you don't need to do that. So I think this is just a matter of like, and it's still hard too to like, there's such a hodgepodge of lineups, so it's hard to really say like, if like, oh, this Harrison Barnes, like he's garbage, like we don't need him. I think he's a vet and he's bringing a lot to the table. I think he's bringing a lot of hustle plays that aren't showing up in the stat line. But points wise and all that stuff, yeah, he ain't really. He looks like it's gonna take some time to gel with this team.
Okay, what about you, Matt Lerma? I know that you have a lot to say about, CP3 and Harrison Barnes. What do you think about Spurs fans booing Harrison Barnes? That's very unspurs like, seeing that the fans haven't even seen enough of him to form an opinion.
Well, I mean, I wasn't there. I think that a lot of people just react whenever they see, something they don't like, or I don't know if he was booed right when he came into the game or if it was after a bad play or what, but I'm not particularly worried about him this season. He was someone who was, capable of scoring 20 points a game last season. I think he'll still be capable of that this season. So I'm not necessarily worried about him. I just wish that we could have seen him do more in the preseason. I just think it's kind of unfortunate that fans booed him, and that was kind of like his first impression of Spurs fans.
Yeah.
With him on the team, us booing him. So I think it's unfortunate that happened. But like Rick said, he didn't do as well as we all hoped he would in the preseason. Not to say that he deserved to be booed, but I can definitely see why it might have happened. We thought that we were going to be seeing like a high scoring bet and all this stuff. And, he comes out and gives an 8-point performance, a 2-point performance, stuff like that. So I could see why it could happen, but I still think that it shouldn't have. It's unfortunate it happened. But the important part for me is that I think that once the season gets going and he gets a little more comfortable with everybody, that he'll be fine and he'll be back to scoring, 10, 15 points a game, which is what we need from him. So.
Yeah. What about you, John Dyer? I know that you have an opinion about Harrison Barnes. We haven't really seen enough of him. You think it's fair for fans to start booing him this early on?
I don't think fans should be booing anybody in preseason. I mean, even the first month of the season, we're going to see growth. We're going to see them trying to figure each other out. So to have expectations for him in preseason is kind of weird. I think, like Matt said, I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to give us the points that we need out of him. I don't see. I'm not concerned. Not for preseason. I'm just not. What I am curious about is, I wonder what the Spurs' expectations are for this season with Barnes and CP3, because we've had such a youth movement, right? Everything was about youth movement, collecting draft picks. I mean, they went out and got 2 veterans. Do you guys think that this team is going to not win a championship now, but it feels like they really want to compete this year? And for that to happen, Barnes has to be a pretty big piece. He's got to be your starting 3. He's got to space the floor, especially with a starting lineup. But I trust he'll do it. I think he'll be just fine.
Yeah. What about you, Elias? I know you have an opinion about this because you were the man that was at the game and you heard the boos coming from the fans for
He started
Harrison
it.
Barnes. Yeah. What do you
Yeah.
think about that, man?
Man, I think what happens being, our Spurs fans, we're just our expectations are too high. Maybe not us in the room, but as soon as we drafted Wemby, everyone was chanting NBA championships coming that year. Y'all know,
Yeah.
we're quick to jump. Wait, give me a sec. He said we're quick to jump to conclusions, just because we have one guy, he's gonna come and change the trajectory of how our season's going, right? So being that CP3, he's been hyped up pretty good. I mean, other than them talking down on his age, I mean, we knew what we were getting with him. And adding Harrison Barnes, I think people were kind of more like box score readers, and actually can I explain this? Like Matt said, he had the 22-point games, the 20 plus games, that's what people are expecting from off the jump. But it's just not going to happen. Harrison Barnes has never been that guy to start off. He's not an all-star contender or anything like that. We just have to lower our expectations and just give him a chance. He's a good player, but just don't put him in a higher level than what he is. And that's the problem with Spurs fans. Like I said, we jump to conclusions very quickly, bro, and it makes us look bad.
Yeah, my opinion about Harrison Barnes is I haven't seen enough of him to really form
Yeah.
an opinion, either good or bad. I'm just excited that he's on this team because, again, bringing that veteran leadership that he brings along with CP3, you've already seen a change in the young core. They are not so, let's say, playing out of control. They seem more control. They seem more calm out there on the court because they got some floor generals now, and it's not just on them having to look around at each other and be like out of sorts and figure things out. Now they have somebody that can, hey man, calm down. We got this, they're dictating what they want the team to do out there, kind of coaching, and that's a good thing because Coach Pop is letting the veterans speak their mind, and that's going to help this young core get better. So I think Spurs fans kind of need to, dial things back a little bit and see what he can do. I think right now he hasn't shown his true colors. I think right now he's just going through the motions, getting in the rhythm, just trying to get in shape of some kind to go ahead and start the season. Because let's be honest, these players don't get in game shape until what, maybe December, when you start really,
Yeah.
seeing them come back to form. Once they get into the All-Star break, that's when they're like, all right, man, I'm feeling good about myself. But right now, we're going to see a lot of rust going out there. So I think Spurs fans kind of just got to settle down a little bit. We haven't seen the best of these guys yet. You've just seen a little piece of it, and you're already booing them. Stop it. That's not like you. You can't have that instant success. You got to have a little bit of patience here. If there's the team's only won 10 games by December, all right, I can see a little frustration there. But come on, man, the season hadn't even started yet.
Man,
That's
we're
all I'm
talking
saying.
preseason and they're hating. That's
Yeah.
what caught me off guard. And expectations go both ways, right? So Harrison Barnes, he's getting booed because they expected him to be a better player, right? Oh man, let me change the subject quick. Julian Champagny, he's been balling out all preseason. So what's getting in our heads? Oh, he's definitely going to be a starter. Oh, he's going to ball out. He's going to be our second or whatever the hell, right? What happens when he can't maintain that for more than, a couple of games?
Yeah.
Like again, our expectations either need to be lowered regardless, good and bad.
Yeah,
That's
so I
that's
was
just
going to
right.
ask you guys, especially you, John, because I know you wanted to kind of jump in here when I was talking about Harrison Barnes. What were you going to say about that opinion that I just presented to you?
No, I was agreeing about. I agree with you. I was going to say December. I just think there's 82 games, right? And players are going to look good sometimes. They're going to look bad sometimes. And it's a fairly new lineup. Adding Barnes and CP, you're adding two players to your starting lineup. I'm not going to get bent out of shape over preseason, one way or the other.
It's preseason.
I'm not even going to get bent out of shape about November basketball. This team's going to figure themselves out. I mean, even last year, Devin Vassell did not start off hot.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to disregard him because of that. It's 82 games. Honestly, this in the past, the Spurs, we didn't really know what the Spurs were going to be until the All-Star or the rodeo road trip.
Yeah.
So to overreact, especially for Harrison Barnes, it's not like he was the top draft pick. It's not like he was this big money free agent that we brought in. He's a role player, and it's very weird that we booed him for that. Because again,
Yeah.
if he was the $60 million man, we spent a
Well,
lot of money. Like, let's say he was Trae Young, we brought in Trae Young, or made a big trade for him, but we didn't. It's just a small piece to the puzzle.
yeah. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to Rick next. And I'm gonna present a real question to you, Rick, because this is something we talked about on the Alamo City Sportscast with Mike, and it got into a heated discussion. People were actually going at each other, kind of coming at us, getting upset. But we're speaking truth, man. Right now, you have teams in the West. You have a total of 15 teams, right, in the Western Conference. You have, and I'm going to name the teams. You have the Oklahoma City Thunder, Denver Nuggets, Minnesota Timberwolves, Clippers, Mavs, Phoenix. You have the Pelicans, the Lakers, Kings, Warriors, Rockets, Jazz, Grizzlies, Spurs, and of course the Blazers. The Spurs is currently constructed. Who are they better than those teams that I've named in the West? Who are they currently better than?
Yeah, and I think that's what it boils down to. Like at the end of the day, like the Spurs, made some small moves and they're getting better. And obviously Wemby is year two, he's gonna do better. But everybody else in the West is better too. So and that's the thing. Like if the Spurs don't have this year that we expect or the year that we do expect, that it's like a 30-40 win season, it's not so much that I know everybody wants to bag on Brian Wright and wants to bag on Pop, and I'm also not making excuses for them. They're fallible. I'm not sitting here saying that everything they do is perfect. I'm not. They make mistakes just like anybody else. But it's also your opponent has a say in this. You know what I mean? Like it's not just what the Spurs do, and as long as they get better, that's it. Like everyone else is getting better too. So it's not so much a knock on, oh well, if the Spurs only win 30 games or whatever, that they didn't try to improve. Well, no, it's just everybody else improved too. You know what I mean? Like your enemy has a say in what's going on, right? So It's hard to say. I would say probably there's like three teams that they're better than constructed right now, and again, and I'm not wishing injuries on nobody or anything like that, but we all know those happens. Something random happens where a team that, hey, we thought was going to be there somehow falls, whether it's through a trade, whether it's through injuries. So they're flirting with like trying to get into the play-in, as constructed, in my opinion. But again, just like in life, like all you can do is compete with yourself. Like I can't look at everybody else and try to compare my life or my accomplishments with somebody else. All I can do is compete with myself. Am I better than I was last year, 5 years ago, whatever? So I think, and I know that sounds kind of cheesy or whatever, but I think that's how the Spurs should approach. Like, are we better than we were before? And we have, because you can't control other teams and what they do. You can only control what you do. So, so they got to get better. They got to make moves. They got to do what they got to do. And I mean, they like Dyer said, going for CP3 and Harrison Barnes. I mean, I'm not saying that's like some, oh my God, they're going to win a championship, but that flirts with the idea that we're trying to go somewhere. We're not just, let's be a youth movement and we got 5 years or whatever. Like, I know Jimenez said that going after CP3 was a punt. I actually think it's the exact opposite.
Me too.
I think it's the exact opposite. If you don't care about winning, then why bring a veteran to try to teach your guys a winning culture for the future? Like, so to me, I think that's, two veterans. So to me, I actually think it's the exact opposite. Like, now I'm not saying that they brought those two in to win a championship this year, but they brought them in to go into a direction to win. Like, if you don't want to win and you want to punt, quote unquote, like Jimenez says, then you don't do anything. You just stay as is. And I mean, so.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and go to you next, Matt. I'm going to ask you the same question. A lot of Spurs fans kind of jumped in that chat that we had on the Alamo City Sportscast. And we were speaking facts. We're just saying, look, based on the plethora of talent that we have in the West, because the West is always stacked. There's no denying that. You have a lot of superstars there. The Spurs is currently constructed. Who do you think they're better than in the Western Conference?
The Trailblazers, the Jazz. I think those two for sure. And what's that put us at? The Clippers. The Clippers for sure. Like Kawhi's out indefinitely. Like, who's their second best player? Like, they have Harden and Norman Powell, Kai Jones. Like, they're on their way down in the rankings, unless like Kawhi.
Hey, Norman Powell's my guy. Norman Powell's my guy. Hold on. Norman Powell's my man. That's my San Diego guy. But no.
I'm not saying anything bad about him. I'm just saying that if he's the second best player on the team, then they might be in a little bit of trouble. The same thing with Minnesota, man. Like, Minnesota is in a really bad spot. They couldn't pay Cat, so they had to trade him. And Julius Randle, the main guy they got for him, is injured for the first part of the season. So they might see a dip. I think that we're going to be better than the Clippers, the Jazz, and the Blazers for sure. So that puts us at 12th place. And I just don't think that you can flat out say that there's no way possible the Spurs can move up 2 more spots, because you never know what's going to happen in a game. We might go play the Grizzlies, and it turns out Zach Edey can't play as well against NBA players instead of sociology majors or whatever. So it's just one of those things. Like, you never know what's going to happen in the outcome of the season. Like, a lot of teams made moves to get better, your OKCs and stuff like that. But the Suns, the Wolves, the Clippers, they all got worse. The Lakers, they kind of stayed stagnant. They didn't really add anybody except for Bronny and Dalton Connect. So, we don't know what's going to happen. So,
hey, I kind of like Dalton Connect. I ain't gonna lie. I like Dalton Connect.
I mean,
I like.
He's good. He's good, but he's not necessarily.
Yeah, he's not going to change the whole game.
We got Dalton Connect. We're going to get to the playoffs now. Like,
True.
Yeah.
They had a hard time making it to the playoffs last season. So anything could happen in the course of the season, injuries, whatever. Hopefully, everyone stays healthy, obviously, but injuries happen throughout every season. Everything's in flux. So just to flat out say that the Spurs have no chance of making it to the play-in, I think that's crazy. I mean,
The odds makers give
one thing,
chance.
Yeah.
one thing to say they
I will
can't make the
say,
playoffs. Like
I,
a number
yeah.
10 seed's never made it to the playoffs yet. But I want to put it past Wemby. We can talk about Wemby now or later, but Wemby's talking a lot of shit in the Sports Illustrated article.
Yeah, I will say this, and I'm not, and real quick, I know, Joe, you're going to go with everybody, but just what I do before I forget, like Matt said, like Wemby, just himself, just like LeBron, and, you can hate him all you want, but facts, right? Guys like Magic, Shaq, like those guys, those game changers, Timmy, they're good for 20-something games alone. You know what I mean? Like I'm just saying, like they will will their teams to, 20, 25 wins or whatever, just on their own will. That's the kind of caliber and character Wemby has. But one thing I will say is, like, last year, the Spurs lost some close games. You know what I mean? There was some games where, and I know there's no moral victories. I'm not saying there's more victories, but there was some, like, man, they were there. I'm hoping that the CP3s, the Harrison Barnes, the year 2 Wemby, the Jeremy being in his position, like those little things are what changes the I almost won or I lost. Like that fine line, So so like Matt's saying, there's nothing outlandish to say they can steal a couple. You know what I mean? Like a couple that they lost last year, let's steal about 10. You know what I mean? Hey, that adds to what they're doing,
Yeah, so I'm going to go to you next, John Dyer, here, because I'm going to leave Seth Elias for last, because I know he's going to have a lot to say about this, too. I'm going to ask you the same question right now in the Western Conference, and keep it real. I'm not trying to hate on the team. I'm not trying to say that I wish they don't make the playoffs. I hope they do. I hope they can flirt with the play-in. That shows that they're getting progressively better, not worse. That's why they brought in these 2 veterans, so the team could get better. But right now, as the Spurs are currently constructed, who are they better than in the West that's ahead of them?
So it's hard to quantify what Richard just said. How many games does CP3 win you this year?
Yeah.
How much better is Wemby now? Is he worth another 5 games? But you also look, we talked about teams that are improving. Golden State got worse. They lost Clay. I would say the Spurs are better than the Rockets. I don't care if the Rockets got freaking Kevin Durant. I'll never say they're better than us. but I honestly.
Hey, respect.
but I honestly don't think the Rockets have a lot of above average. Like, they don't have anyone that scares you. They got a lot of floor raisers.
So they got a lot of Marbach nice players. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's top notch, baby. No, they have, like, even when they went out and spent money, they spent money on mid. They raised their floor.
Players.
Yeah, so they don't have like the go-to. Richard said there's players that are worth 20 games, 20 wins. If Wemby develops into that, as we know he already is on the cusp of, the Rockets don't have anybody like that. Golden State's really old. The Lakers are just older. At one point, LeBron is not going to be LeBron anymore. Portland, better than Portland, better than the Clippers. I think I just named 4 or 5 teams that puts us in the play-in. Yeah. And again, it's hard to quantify what CP3, because we're going from not having a point guard, like just giving Sohan a tryout at a position he never played, to the point guard. Like, that's a big. I mean, I know he's 40, 41, whatever, but that's still a major upgrade at that position.
Well, put it like this, John. They have a point guard now for the full 48 minutes, right? They got a starter.
Yeah.
They got a backup. And now they don't have to have some guy like Jeremy Sohan that they're going to put out there and say, hey, do something.
They have 3. I think Castle's the point guard of the future.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you know what? And just to jump in before Seth, real quick, because people talk about how, hey, CP3, he's not going to play a lot of games. He's only going to play 50 games, blah, blah, blah. That's good, because in Castle, it's a half and half thing. Yeah, like so. I don't understand why people are so. I get it. You're right. CP3 is about to be 40. Maybe he plays 50 games or whatever you want to call it. Pop's a master of resting players. Hey, DMP, old,
He
right?
invented
Tim
it.
Duncan. So
Oh,
exactly. So to me, this is actually the best situation. Like, if it was like Trey Young or another like star point guard, how is Castle going to play point guard if we have a
never
star
would.
like that?
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
he's either going to play. He's either going to have to play a position that he doesn't want, which everybody doesn't like the Jeremy thing, or he's going to have to be backup. So to me, Chris Paul is actually a great thing because he's not going to play all 82 games. So in come Castle to start whenever Chris Paul can start. So, I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Seth?
Oh, before you say
go
that,
ahead, Dyer.
I am so intrigued on the minutes between CP3 and Castle. That's going to be the first thing I look at the end of games. All right, how is the split between those two guys? Because to your point, I think we're going to be in the best of both worlds. But we'll see.
Let's go to you, Seth. I know you got a lot to say about this, man. What do you think not only about, the point guard position that the Spurs are going to have this season, but also asking you that same question. Who are the Spurs currently better than in the West, in your opinion? Remember, it's a safe place. So you can say,
I'm like, let me be realistic. Let me start off by rebutting what Matt said. He said that the Timberwolves fell off a bit. Bro, they're still a better team than us. Sad to say,
Oh, yeah.
I do see us
I
beating.
never said that they won't. I just said that they're going to fall in the rankings.
I do see us beating the Clippers for sure, and the Trailblazers. And that's all I'm going to give them. I mean, I'm not trying to sound like a hater or anything, but just being realistic, right? But opposite of what Mike says, on the other show, on the Alamo City Sportscast, we had 22 wins last year. So anything above that, it's improvement. And what do we want if not to improve? If we could break 30, shit, to me, that's a significant jump.
Yeah.
And think of it this guy, fellas. Year one, Wemby gave us 22 wins. So what does year two give us? I think we get a minimum of 36. We'll probably peak at 40, 47. That's what I'm shooting for. And as for the point guard situation, I mean, Rick summed it up perfect. CP3 being out there not being out there isn't exactly a bad thing. I could even use some of our preseason games as an example. Look how much our guards have gotten better with just practicing alongside old dude. He's doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes that he doesn't necessarily have to be our starting point guard. He doesn't have to be out there in the game. It's just the stuff he's doing behind the scenes is already elevating some of our other guards, like Julian Champagny, who's, he's not our point guard, but he's still playing better. Jones, and that's all stemming from that trade, So, I mean, I think we're going to be all right. We're not going to be a top team in the West. Like I said, it all comes back down to our expectations. Let's lower them a bit. But I am shooting for a 30. That we'll peak. Well, minimum games about 35, and we'll peak at about 47, Joe. And that's how I'm going. That's the mindset I'm rolling with this season.
So that's a lot of wins. I'm kind of curious because you said you only have the Spurs better than two teams in the West, but that's a lot of wins you're giving them.
Yeah, well, it's like Rick said. I mean, a lot of games that we dropped last season were just 2 possession games or whatnot.
1 point.
And what's to say that second year Wemby doesn't elevate us 8 more games on his own? So if we got 22 with him, he'd put us at 30 by himself. Like I said, at our peak of 47, that's me being unrealistic. Like I said, you want me to be a realistic fan right now? If we with what we have, maybe 42. We're not going to make the play-in, sad to say, but I'd love to see it. That's all I got to say about that.
So one of the things I'm going to ask you guys about here, and I'm just keeping it real, we're talking Spurs. We're trying to keep it real. We're not trying to sell the fans fantasies. We're trying to temper expectations a little bit. Say, hey, this is what our opinions are, but you all are perfectly welcome to form your own. That's the beauty of being a Spurs fan. Everybody has these differences of opinions, but at the end of the day, we still root for the same team, right? It's nothing but love. But we got to address one big issue here, and I'm going to go to you first, Matt. The Spurs, they've done nothing to go ahead and kind of solidify the issue that they have, a gaping hole in their game, and that is the three-point shooting. They have done nothing to go ahead and shore that up. for all intents and purposes, this team is going to be one of the bottom feeding teams when it comes to 3-point shooting. 3-point shooting is a big stat when you're looking at stats at the end of the night. This is what teams are doing now in the NBA, in today's modern NBA, shooting the three. Right now, the Spurs don't have anybody that can really shoot the three at a healthy clip. And it looks like they're going to be entering the season, and they haven't shored that position up in any way. Expectations as far as what the Spurs are going to do now that they really have no 3-point shooting to speak of. They don't have any. They don't got any bucket getters. Let's put it like that. What's your opinion on that? How can they go ahead and win games without trying to, really shoot a lot of threes?
Well, we already saw this a problem when we played Miami the other day in the preseason. We lost by 3 points, but we made 4 more baskets than the Heat did. So, it just kind of goes to show how important hitting your threes are. One of the main reasons we lost against Houston is because when we went cold for like 5 minutes or whatever, the the Rockets were just hitting threes like no other shot existed on the court. They were just draining threes. So I mean, I agree we do need some better 3-point shooters, but I think that when Devin Vassell comes back, he's a sniper from three. He's always done really well from three, and we're expecting him to come back on November 1st. Assuming that everything goes well with his checkup. And then Julian Champagny, we know he can hit the three. Malachi Branham and Blake Wesley, they just both got their 4th-year options picked up. So whether we like it or not, we're stuck with them for another year, or unless they get traded. But I think that Malachi is really a rhythm player. So like if he can stay on the court and if he can stay on the court 10, 15 minutes, I think he can get in a rhythm and start hitting his shots. We kind of saw that in the Heat game. He came in with 40 seconds left in the 3rd quarter or something, played the whole 4th quarter, so that's like 12 and a half minutes, and he had 15 points. So once he gets going, he can get going. But it just in a game situation where he has to take important shots and make them, I don't know if they're going to give him the time to get in his rhythm. So yeah, I agree. We need more shooting on the team for sure. But unfortunately, at least until the trade deadline, it looks like we're going to be having to rely on CP3, Harrison Barnes, Champagny, and hoping that Malachi can find his rhythm early on to help us keep up with those threes. And so far, in the preseason, when the other team has shot the three well, we haven't won. So it's a real concern. And I hope that Minix gets that last two-way spot. He's shown that he's capable of hitting his threes, and I think that he even eventually got to play against some bench guys that weren't like G League level players, and he was still hitting his threes against them. So I hope he gets that last two-way spot, and we can see him 50 times in San Antonio, just helping us with that exact problem, our lack of threes.
So I'm asking,
and if we do make a trade, hopefully we'll bring him up to the regular roster.
Yeah. So I'm gonna ask you the same question, Elias, because we went to you last. Now we're gonna start with you second here. Spurs, what do you think they're gonna do here? How can they get better at the three with the cast that they have right now, which is not really good from beyond the arc? How do you think it's gonna affect the dynamic of their game going into the regular season?
Well, I don't think we need much improvement when we have the 3-point shooting god Zach Collins just launching that ball every damn
Oh,
chance he
Lord.
gets.
Rick City, man.
No, man, no. But if I'm being honest, like we said, maybe we have maybe about 2 players who could hit that three on any given night. Everyone else is give or take. I mean, Jeremy's been hitting them hit a bunch at the end of last season, but that's just teams leaving it open, and by the grace of God, they were hitting. We don't have a consistent 3-point shooter like we used to have back in the day. Matt Barnes, Matt Barnes, what the hell? Bonner. We had Bonner. We had Davis Bertans. Like we had
These
people who would
buckets.
shoot there. Yeah, we have McBuckets. We had people who would hit beyond the arc. I mean, we just don't have that. That's not the way this team is set up. I think we're going to be more of like a pick and roll or inside post up type of team. But even like that, Joe, I mean, if we have bigs that are going to post up, then post up. You have, like I said, I'm sorry to keep bashing on him. You have Zach Collins in the paint not being able to hit a layup from 2 feet. And he's being out rebounded almost every game. Being that he's second to Wemby, and Wemby can't do it all on his own, right? We're gonna need someone else to clean up the boards, and just help get the brunt of all that. I mean, we don't do well when it comes to second chance buckets because y'all guys know we can't rebound for shit.
Yeah,
And
that's
being
a point.
being being that yeah, and being that Collins lives in the paint, Wemby lives in the paint, you would think our rebound stats would be through the roof. But like I said, I think we need to improve on that before we worry about our 3-point shooters because I think, like I said, we're gonna be more of a run and gun type of team.
Yeah,
Which let's see how that works because nowadays if you're not a 3-point shooting team, you're not getting anywhere in this league.
yeah.
So
So I'm gonna go to
give
Rick
us
here next, man. Rick, I gotta ask you a different question. You and Dyer, y'all are gonna be my ringers here. So expectations for Wemby in year two. What do you think he's gonna do? You think he's gonna win Defensive Player of the Year? Do you think he's gonna be in the running for Most Improved Player of the Year? What do you think about his expectations for Wemby?
Um, yeah, man. I mean, they're up there. I mean, I think you know he's and I know like all that marketing stuff. People may not think it matters, but it does because there's a reason why like Louis Vuitton is using him as a spokesman. Like there's no, I don't know another NBA player to include LeBron that's a Louis Vuitton spokesman, right? There's all these marketing, there's Sports Illustrated, there's all this stuff, and I'm not saying that necessarily translate onto the court, but there's something there, man. Like that's something like man, that's pretty special. So
The star
um
power.
yeah, I mean, it's and that stuff like it's also like a confidence booster, man. Like I don't think a kid needs confidence, but I'm just saying like that just
yeah.
makes you even more. No, I'm just saying like it's like when you dress nice, right? You look good, you feel. I try to put all this stuff into like we're all common men. We're not none of us are Wemby, so I try to put it in the
Yeah.
same like mentality and like a common man. When I dress nice, I'm wearing my suit, I'm wearing my marine blues and my
Hey,
medals. Like I feel good, man. I look good.
Yeah.
Things just start happening for me. That's just
yeah,
what it is. I don't know. Maybe it's in my
swagger.
mind, maybe whatever. So same concept. All this stuff is happening for Wemby, man, and it's just gonna make things easier for him. I definitely think he'll be Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, the Most Improved Player of the Year thing is kind of weird because it's hard. I don't know. It's hard. It's funny because he was a victim of like, well, you're a rookie, you're not going to be a Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
I almost feel like it's going to be like, oh, well, you're Wemby. How can you be the Most Improved Player? Like,
Yeah.
you almost have to like suck to then become the Most Improved Player of the Year. I don't know, like that. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, there's like a mentality there. So I don't know about Most Improved, but I'm sure he should be. But to me, that it implies that you like weren't good last year, so now you've improved. I don't know, but I do think he's Defensive Player of the Year, and there's going to be some MVP talks. Like, I mean, depending on how the year
Oh yeah.
goes, and again, depending that's to me, I think that's the more interesting thing. Like, is he going to be at least in like the top 5 MVP? He could be.
Yeah.
This year, and eventually he will be MVP. But I don't know. What do you think, Dyer?
I got him as an all NBA player this year. I don't know first, second, or third team, but I think he'll be all NBA. He'll be an all
For
star.
sure.
Yeah.
He'll
For sure.
he'll be in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. I'm not gonna say he's going to win it just because somebody could come out of left field that
Mhm.
leads the league in steals or
Or they'll cheat
I
him
think
again.
I think he'll be a menace blocking. He's gonna
Yeah.
be the same great defensive player, but I think he takes the step into all NBA,
Mhm.
all star. I'm curious to see. So last year it was kind of a running joke how the Spurs couldn't get him the ball in proper position.
Mhm.
I'm curious to see what CP3 does for his game, just in that little sense. That little thing is going to be a big difference. So, you saying he could be in the MVP race? If the Spurs are in the playoffs, I could see him being a candidate for that. If he brings the Spurs from 22 wins to the playoffs, yeah, he's definitely going to be in the running. But I do have him as an All NBA player this year, All Star. Maybe he'll do the skills challenge. Uh, maybe he'll do the slam dunk. Things like that. But he's definitely going to ascend. As far as most improved, to your point, he didn't suck enough to be improved. You know what I mean? Uh, I don't know if rookies get that award from their second year. I think it's kind of expected to take a step forward. I don't think he'll be in the running for most improved, just because expectations are already high for him. No one's going to be surprised if he's an MVP candidate or All NBA player.
Yeah. So as we start bringing the show to a close here, because I know it's Friday evening, full disclosure, recording this. I know people got things to do. John's already drinking. He got me wanting to. I even saw Sith over here. Elias over here drinking. Matt Lerma. I don't know what he's got in that.
Hey,
look good, man.
Hey, it's early out here in Cali. I'll tell you that. It's
No,
only
That's
8
true.
o'clock, baby. So
It's
Yeah.
been 6
Man.
o'clock, dude.
Man, not to kill the vibe, but like Bobby Boucher, I'm sipping on that H2O. That's all.
I don't know. Hey, I don't know if Elias is old enough to drink. So
Oh yeah,
That's true.
Hey, Rick, you gotta ask my burner though. Ask Mitch out if I'm old enough to drink.
Yeah, I'm convinced that y'all are burners, bro. I'm on the case. I'm on the case.
That who's his burner?
Midtown, Texas.
Midtown, Texas. For the longest, I thought him and they were the same person.
Yeah.
Like,
Really?
It seemed like the same person to me. Yeah, I'm being 100. I'm being dead serious.
Yeah.
Really?
No,
Yeah.
man. But
If they're burners, he's a really good burner because they talk trash in different ways.
yeah. All the time.
Hey, you ever seen Split? You ever seen that movie Split? All the different personalities?
Yeah. There
Me,
you go.
myself, and Irene.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, there's that too.
I was gonna say, so as we bring it to a close here, I'm gonna give you all time to go ahead and plug what you all got going. Matt, I know that Alamo City Podcast Network is gonna be sponsoring your Spurs Spaces this season. What do you got going with the Spurs Spaces, and more importantly, what do you got cooking? What are you working on right now?
Yeah, so after every game, we're going to be doing a post-game space. Usually at least an hour, sometimes longer, depending on how many speakers there are and stuff. I hope to see every one of you guys in the spaces post-game. You're sponsoring it with the Alamo City Podcast Network. You can follow me on X at Matt Lerma _PS to keep up with everything. We also talk about Spurs news and things like that. I had just got off of space right when they announced that they picked up the options for Sohan, Wimby, Malachi, and Blake. So I'm gonna talk about it tomorrow. But it was a good space today. We talked a lot about kind of what we talked about here. So check me out after the Spurs games, but follow me and so you can see when I'm going live. And if you want to talk to Spurs fans during the game, I have a Spurs Spaces group chat where we kind of just like talk about the game as it's going down and talk about Spurs news, talk a little trash back and forth. It's all good and fun. So if you want, just like let me know. I'll add you to the group chat, and hopefully we'll see everyone in the Spaces post game, guys. Thank you.
Hey, Matt, and you're also looking good, man. You're looking healthy, and I'm being real. I'm not joking. I'm being serious.
I lost 117 pounds, almost 120 pounds.
Nice.
Wow, that's amazing.
Congratulations,
awesome.
man! For real, dude. You look.
Dang,
I even
that's
told
awesome.
you before we even came on. I said, "Man, you looking good, brother. Keep it up, man."
Yeah,
That's
real
awesome.
talk. Yeah.
The last time I saw Joe in person, well, the last time I saw you in person too, Rick, was like right before I started to lose weight, and I like gave Joe my last bottle of liquor and everything. So like, yeah.
Woodward.
So
Still got it.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it was delicious. It was hard to let it go, but I was like, man, if I drink this, I probably won't stick with my diet. So.
Well, we're going to go with you next, John. I know you got some things you're working on too, and we always like to have you as a regular guest on the Alamo Sportscast. I'm going to have you as a regular. Everybody here is going to be a regular on the Area 210. So we look forward.
Let's go.
What do you got working on, man?
Well, just trying to keep my sanity watching the Cowboys this year.
Oh man.
That's probably, when you have me on Alamo City podcast, I'll be grinding my teeth about that. That's really it as far as sports content or anything on Twitter. Just hanging out with you guys, talking to you guys. Yeah, so catch me on there whenever Joe invites me. I will be on there.
We'll have you again. We'll have you on again on Mondays, when the Cowboys come back from their bye week. I know they're off this
Yeah.
week. But you know what? I gotta be honest, man. When we bring Dyer on, man, the ratings go up, bro. Everybody's like, "Mira, I'm like, damn.
He's knowledgeable. He's very knowledgeable, man. Yeah, you get him talking
Thank you,
Longhorns,
thank you.
man, and you'll really get.
Hey,
some
that's the best
you
part.
know.
I'm going to the game. I'm going to the game tomorrow. So.
Oh, I'm fucking jealous, bro. I am jealous of you, bro.
Yeah,
Oh
man.
my god, that's gonna be such an amazing atmosphere,
Yeah.
Georgia. Oh my god, man.
It's gonna be awesome.
We were talking with Johnny Walker, Longhorn great.
Yeah,
Johnny,
I saw that. Yeah.
and we're asking him the question: Who had the better mascot, Uga, or is it gonna be Bevo? And I said,
Bevo,
no, come
yeah.
on, bro, Bevo, man.
Did you see the controversy with that?
Yeah.
So Texas plays at Georgia next year, and Georgia told Texas, "Hey, you can't bring Bevo next year."
No.
Oh wow.
Oh, what?
So then Texas told them today, "Well, then don't bring your dog this weekend."
Hey, that's fair, right?
So they're having a mascot standoff. So.
Oh wow. Hey, you know what it reminds me of, Dyer? It reminds me when Bayside and Valley had a mascot. And they stole the tiger.
They stole Screech. They kidnapped Screech.
Screech. Yeah. They put the ants in the back. You know what I'm talking about. Sith, you're too young for this, bro. Sith, I know you're too young for this, dog. So don't worry. Us old guys are reminiscing about the 90s.
Fill me in later, bro. Fill me in.
It's called Saved by the Bell.
Thanks, bro. We'll
Yeah, exactly.
But Elias, let us know what you're working on too, because I know you're doing Down for the Count, the Wrestling X Spaces with Big Papi Brandon Medina. So let us know about that, man.
Man, Down for the Count is a show for the people, by the people's champs. That's, Brandon Big Papi Medina and your boy Sith Lord _ Elias on X. Other than that, you could catch me talking Cowboys, I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss, talking Cowboys, talking pop culture, talking shit. That's all I do on X. Go ahead and hit that follow. I think Matt and I were kind of talking behind the scenes about possibly doing a bit more spaces or collaborating with one another even more. So be on the lookout for that.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it. Catch us Down for the Count every Monday after Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, and you can catch me on Down for the Count too. I like to make an appearance here and there and talk.
Oh yeah.
To Edgar, going back and forth with him, dude, because he loves him.
Joe shows up and the energy just shoots through the roof. He goes in there mad dogging everyone. He's like, you know what? Fuck this, fuck that. This wrestler sucks. This show was mid. And being that like 5 minutes ago we're talking about how this was the best damn Raw of all time. Joe comes in here like, oh, this show sucks, y'all.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, man,
hey, if you ever want to do like a classic throwback, man, because I'll be honest, I don't watch anymore, but Dyer knows. Dyer and I, man, I go way back.
I've seen you on the stuff.
I would, bro. I'm telling you, like I love the classics, bro. Up until about like the late 90s, man. I would love to talk that. I really would, because and the crazy thing is that it still builds on what's going on now.
Yeah.
With a lot of the second and third generation wrestlers, a lot of it builds from the prior stuff, and some people might not be as into the old school stuff, but like I would love to talk some of that old school stuff, real talk. Like I would.
No, for sure. I mean, like I said, I'll talk to my boys, see if we could do a throwback app and get that going. Because we do have a few listeners that are all about the Attitude Era. They even brought up AWA and and
territories,
bro.
Especially with that like McMahon documentary that just came out, right? Like it goes back to all that. Yeah. It's
that
wild.
You can't show his face in public no more, McMahon, bro.
Just get me and Rick drunk and we'll live tweet WrestleMania 6.
Oh my god! I'm telling you, bro. WrestleMania 6, bro. WrestleMania 6 was everything, bro. Ultimate Warrior, man. Oh,
y'all gonna break the X if that happens.
Hey, you know what? You know what, Joe? This sounds like another Area 210 topic night. We'll do Area 210. and down for the count collaboration. We'll
Yeah.
just talk old school wrestling.
Old school
Yeah.
You
wrestling.
know,
I'm
if
down.
y'all are down for
You'll
it,
have to
man.
cut us
I'm
up.
definitely
Oh
down.
yeah.
I'm definitely down. I'm
We gotta
definitely
get a
down
little
for that.
nitty though, man. We're gonna be doing that. We'll
Yeah.
do that when maybe Rick is
Yeah.
in town, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Hey,
I'm
I'll
down for
drive
that.
up,
Yeah.
Rick. If you're in town, bro, I'll drive
Yeah.
up and
But
we'll
Yeah.
talk. We'll shoot the shit in
don't get
person.
suckered into Steph making you mimosas, bro. You ain't ready for
We'll
that.
do it.
You hit
Aw.
different.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
hit
We'll go to the
different.
We'll go to the Freeman Coliseum parking lot where they used to have all the
There you
events.
go. Exactly.
We
Yeah.
call them mimosas
Yeah.
for a reason, dude. Because you know,
Those
Yeah.
those
The
those
mimosas.
mimosas,
Yeah.
those mimosas gonna have me lying like Mike every Monday. Oh, I just finished
bro.
it. You
Go
you
live.
The
know your
tournament,
Man,
ass didn't do anything.
Mike
the
got
show turns
tore
into
up.
Drink Champs.
Mike got
Yeah.
tore up that first time they started giving him
Hmm.
mimosas. Bro, you
Yeah.
go
Steph.
watch the episode, you can see him, dude. He was going
Yeah.
down. By the time
Yeah.
Steph and Rick had him back, he was out, dude.
Oh, yeah. They were flowing, bro. They were flowing.
Yeah,
Y'all
but
ever
Rick,
watch? Y'all ever watch Drink Champs? The podcast
oh
Drink Champs.
man, yes, man.
I've caught a few episodes. Yes,
That's
sir.
how it was. You
Yeah.
gotta check it out, Rick. It's old rappers, but they're
Uh-huh.
drinking like crazy the whole time.
Okay. Nice. Hell yeah. I
Noriega
gotta check it
hosts
out.
it. He'll interview it, but they're long. I guess because they're drinking, they're long
Yeah.
episodes.
It just doesn't feel like it's long. Yeah.
We just
Yeah.
flow, man. But Rick, I know we're coming to an end here, but plug yourself, bro. Where can they follow you? The man, the
Yeah,
myth.
man. Hey, yeah, Real Fernandez. Follow me. You know how it is, man. I got nothing but love for everybody on this panel, man. I've known Dyer since second, third grade, and Matt and Sith and Joe. Again, not as long, but man, the love is still there, man. I really appreciate that, man. I love plugging everybody's stuff. You know, Steph is doing her thing with Chicana, with Fuerte Productions, which again, I'm with that co-founder, and she does some good work, man. Like action
For
shots
sure.
for like kids sports. That I told her, man, that's the move to get into because parents pay for that, man. Kids sports, action shots, videos. Literally, she was on a wine event tonight doing some little high end videography, man. So she's been doing a lot of good stuff, man. So you could get with us on that. I'll be in town for the home opener. So let's get together, bro. You know what I'm saying? Let's do it that weekend. I'll be in town. You're definitely going to be there for the home opener on the 25th or 26th. Yeah, man, let's do it.
Hey, Rick, every time you start talking, my cup starts stacking, dog.
There you go.
We go to the game. You're not gonna stack them cups higher than Rick.
Oh, baby, let's stack them, baby. Let's stack them, baby. Yeah.
Nobody's gonna win that, dude. He's gonna be like when you see those events, like the concerts, and they stack those cups so long it makes a snake.
Oh yeah.
That's
yeah,
Rick,
yeah. Hell yeah. But thank you, Joe, man. Appreciate everything you do for
thanks,
us,
Joe.
The platforms that you put out there for us. You do all this hard work behind the scenes that people don't even know about, man. So shout out to you, Joe. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate all of y'all, man. Like I said, we're just here trying to help everybody grow. As we grow, we all grow together, man. So I look forward to going ahead and having you guys on the show more often now as we're moving forward, because this is a show about the people for the people, man. So we got to bring the gente on here, dude, and represent the area 210. So for Fernandez, for John Dyer, Elias, and Matt Lerma, I'm Joe Garcia. Thank you for listening to and watching another episode of the Area 210. And like we always said, spread the love, stop the hate, be kind. We are peace.
Stay puro.
Keep it puro.